And that is, whoa, that was a disaster right there. That's F105 Desert Planet. This is the Rebel Scum Podcast, Flying Casual. My name is James Rosile. Joining me today is Andrew
It's me.
Fantasia.
Hello, it's me, Andrew Fantasia. Hello, everybody. Welcome. It's Monday evening once again, and in the words of Elton John, it's 7 o'clock, and I want to rock. That's at least what he told me. I don't know. Maybe you guys all
Have you
heard
seen?
a different story.
Have you seen
But,
the Elton John
thankfully,
movie?
it's our second. I have, and I like it even more than the Queen one. I think I'm in the minority though.
Well, I'm not gonna. I haven't
Have you
seen.
seen it?
I have not seen Rocket Man. I'm a huge. I like Elton John a lot. My favorite song is not in the movie. I found out. So it's kind of like, well, I'm sure the whole album that is my favorite Elton John album is not in there. But I was not impressed with the Queen movie so much. I thought it was like it's kind of like, you know, when you're a kid and you have a paint book and it's like color one red. It's paint by numbers is what I'm saying. It's just, you know, and they're like, my problem with based on true stories is none of it is fact. It's like just say this is a fictional story about real people, like Titanic. Just say that because none of it's real. So why even bother trying? Anyway,
And Space Jam.
Here's the thing. The music in that movie, in the Queen movie, was awesome. So I feel like when you watch the movie, you're like, these songs are awesome, and they bring you to this place, and then you're like, that was a great movie. And Freddie Mercury, he was great in it, sure, but the movie itself was, I don't know. It's not memorable at all. Let's be honest. Like, no, it's not. Why are we talking about this? Force Rage. Force Rage. That's what we're going to talk about today. The old Force Rage. Let's go over here. People are in the chat right now. Mr. Rez is here and Heidi Feder are there. Hello.
Hi, Mr. Rez and Heidi Feder.
They are
Welcome
both
aboard.
here. And let me just
Welcome aboard the Force Rage boat.
There we go. Yeah, welcome to this right now, James. And Rural Farm Boy is here. Thanks for joining us. We're going to talk about. Give us a like and a subscribe. That's what we should say. I don't think we started this podcast off either by saying the words "you," which we talked about last week. We were going to start to do, but we didn't. Also, it's fall, so I'm wearing a sweater because it is cold.
And I'm wearing short sleeves to contrast. See what a good team we make.
I'm actually regretting the sweater right now. It's really hot in here. So earlier today, I showed you a picture because we were like, "What are we going to talk about today?" I don't know. And I showed you a picture of Force Rage Kylo Ren mask that is coming out for children to play with, and I want to know what your thoughts are on that.
Well, I know first and foremost that all the children who I know in my life, the last thing they need, James, is more rage. So I might not get them this mask, or
it could have been worse though. It could have been like a Kylo Ren like sugar cube.
What if it was called Kylo Ren Patricide Playset?
Well, what would that be setting up for episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker? But we were actually, because you're very, very, it's 90 where Heidi is. Because you're very lazy, I wanted you to do a video on the old Star Wars games that are returning to Nintendo Switch and PlayStation 4. Can you just talk about those a little bit?
Yeah. So the Switch and PS4. I don't think Xbox though. Maybe they'll get on it though. But they're getting, every once in a while they throw together these virtual downloads of older games, which is always nice because hey, we love old games, but sometimes platforms are not backwards compatible because the only reason is sometimes game developers are jerks like that. But every once in a while they throw us a bone and they let us buy a game we already own once again without a box this time. And they're doing that now with Jedi Knight 2 Jedi Outcast and Jedi Knight 3 Jedi Academy. I've never met a single human being who talks about Jedi Knight 1. I don't even know what it is. I've never seen it. I've never smelled it or tasted it. If you know what Jedi Knight 1 is, please let us know. I'd love to just know what the deal. It's probably crap. I'd assume it's crap at this point because it's like not on anybody's radar, but who knows. But Jedi Knight 2 and 3, you can get them on Switch, on PS4. I believe they've already come out now. They've been out a couple weeks, but they're available for downloading, so you can get your Kyle Katarn on next-gen consoles. Now, I owned the second one, I own Jedi Knight 2, on Xbox, the original Xbox. I enjoyed the multiplayer a little bit. I didn't enjoy the single player. It's not a game I would buy again, James. I don't know. What about you?
I don't think I've played either one of them, so I'm all on board. But what I really wanted you to do with this video was talk about why would they be releasing these games now? Like all of a sudden they're like, we're going to release them. When I got my PlayStation 4, it was the Darth Vader PlayStation that came with Battlefront, the new Battlefront 1. It came with that, and it came with 4 old Star Wars games: Super Star Wars, Bounty Hunter, Jedi, whatever, and whatever. Those ones. Pod Racer, that's the one that I played the most too.
Great time with
Pod Racer is the one that I actually. The reason why I wanted the PlayStation over the Xbox was for those games, because I wanted to play Pod Racer Revenge, so I could be Ben Quadraneros on the racetrack. Clearly, that's why. Misconduct has never heard of any of these games. You need to get on the Misconduct. Anyway, but why would they be releasing these games all of a sudden? It just seemed very random to me that they'd be like, oh yeah, and these games are going to come out on September 24th or whatever it is. Because we've decided to. When they were so specific in the original ones that they released, and they would only be on PlayStation. Now it's Nintendo and PlayStation, fine. But why? Andrew, tell me why.
Yeah, and again, why these games in particular? LucasArts owned everything. It's not like there's a rights issue. So where's our HD rekajigger of the KOTOR games? More importantly, where is my re-release of Star Wars Obi-Wan? Because I can't play that anywhere except on the OG Xbox. That still has never been released anywhere else, and it's clearly the greatest Star Wars game ever made. So where are you at? I know LucasArts, you own it all, so you got no excuse. Bring it back out. But maybe, James, maybe they're getting people in the mood for Star Wars games again, real Star Wars games, sorry, Battlefront, because they want us to, A, get hungry for Jedi Fallen Order, and B, get hungry for the future after Jedi Fallen Order? Raised eyebrow, question mark? Because I think that future's creeping up.
Yeah, my first thought was, actually, this isn't, but I was like, well, obviously it will remind us of the type of gameplay we might be getting in Jedi Fallen Order. But really, I was just like, there might be something in there. Just to kind of for hardcore fans, to remind the hardcore fans that, that were really maybe some fans that were like, Force teleportation. I can't speak today. It's a no speak Monday for me. Force teleportation can't happen, but it was in that book in 2011 or whatever, and blah, blah, blah. So there's something in this game that we're going to talk about. Why don't you tell everybody what that is?
There's something in the Jedi Knight games called Force Rage. Bringing it back to the Kylo Ren mask.
Taking the sweater off.
It's all connected. Illuminati confirmed. There we go. Join the short sleeve club. Here we are.
Yeah, God, it's hot. All right, so yes, so Force Rage, which is of course this thing that people have been talking about. It's Kylo Ren, and it was in Jedi. My Creative Cloud needs an update, guys.
Get on that.
I know,
get on that.
I'll have to do it, otherwise this might not be edited. It's not edited. It's live. But anyway, so I was like, well, I gotta look up Force Rage and whatever. And Force Rage, of course, is on Wikipedia. By the way, if you can't see this picture on Wikipedia, look at that guy. That looks like old Hux.
He's having a great time.
Old Hux is going bonkers there. He's got a lot of saliva in his mouth.
Mm-hmm.
So, there's a few people that were able to, that had the Force Rage, which is also known as Dark Rage, Force Enrage, and Force Fury. And now it's being hinted at that Kylo Ren will be using that Force Rage, which, does that mean he'll have Force Lightning? Is it just like the red will really, really go red in his helmet that we've seen? I'm not sure, but why don't you give your thoughts while I get this going?
Yeah, I don't know how real this idea is that Kylo is going to have something called Force Rage. Because, look, we've seen the dude. He has a short temper, we know. We've seen him demonstrate that many times. And it hasn't felt like any kind of new force power. It's just felt like this guy's throwing a hissy fit. He's smashing things. He's hurting his employees. he's causing property damage on circular base. It feels like that's sort of his default setting. So I think when I see that on that toy, anyway, I see that as like just that's Kylo Ren. He's angry all the time. He's an emo kid, and putting on the mask lets kids role play as that. And I can foresee a future where the kids get tired of those masks really quickly, or even more so, the parents do, and the parents pull a Snoke and say, "Take that ridiculous thing off." And there's some lightning in the mix too. But I don't see it being something where it's like, oh, watch out for this Force Rage thing. It's coming. It's going to be in Episode 9. That it sounds like the way, like you mentioned, like you were like, oh, Spark of Hope sounds like an episode of Rebels. It doesn't sound like the name of a movie. Force Rage sounds like a cheesy power from like a cheesy video game. It doesn't sound like something I would want in a movie.
Well, I don't see, but in a movie they would never refer to it as Force Rage, right? You would just see the rage. That's what would happen. You would see it and witness the events itself. I want to read this little bit right here, Andrew Fantasia, because it's got me thinking. So this is on Wikipedia, which is the extent of our research. So the user of the Force Rage could channel his or her anger to increase their speed, strength, ferocity. However, the body could not handle such rage for long periods of time, so the user became greatly weakened for some time after the rage subsided. If light side Force users wielded Force Rage, it could permanently disrupt their connection to the light side unless something happened to interrupt the rage and bring them out of the dark side's grip. This is what I'm thinking is interesting. Therefore, the rage could give the wielder an instantaneous physical and mental response, but pull them into the deep depression, physiological harm, and the endless void of the dark side, which kind of sounds like our boy Kylo Ren in a lot of ways. I'm thinking this. Bear with me here. Make fun of me in the chat if you want. Whatever you want. Kylo Ren, light side user. We don't know anything about his relationship with... I mean, the Snow comic came out, so we know whatever. But before all that, maybe somebody was teaching him some things he wasn't supposed to learn. And maybe Force Rage or some kind of Force power like that is something that he was learning. Let's say that. And then Luke comes to kill him in his sleep, and he uses this so-called Force Rage to kind of fight off someone who's clearly more powerful than him, Luke Skywalker, and he burns down the temple, and he takes it because now he's all powerful. And that brought him into the dark side. And because it says when you're in it, it's hard to get out. You need something to pull you out. And now he has, but he's always had that struggle between light and dark, obviously. But now he has this Rey figure coming in that could potentially be the catalyst he needs to pull him out of this Force Rage dark side psychosis that he's in and return Ben Solo or whatnot in the way into the light side of the Force.
Well, if they explain it in the movie like the way you just did, if they make it sound kind of interesting, like more of an emotional ride, yeah, I can get behind that. But the Wikipedia entry that you read, like that sounds 100% like you're playing a video game. Like press X to activate Force Rage and they'll give you +6 attack but -6 defense. Like that's what that sounded like. So if it's going to be a new power in the movie, fine, cool. But you got to walk that tightrope. You got to have that balance of like showing how this power works, but making it more emotional and interesting than just a numbers thing.
Realistically, it's probably just going to be he's going to get mad and his helmet's going to turn red. Let's be honest. That's probably what it's going to be. My hope is I just look for substance in things, and if you're going to do that, do it. Like, I don't know. I think there's ways to... I don't know what the hell this movie's about. That is basically what I'm trying to say. I don't know what it's about. I don't know if you know what it's about. I don't know if anybody in the chat knows what. I'm sure somebody in the chat knows more about it than we do, but I don't know what it is. And this, for me, this is a way to... It's a simple explanation of the relationship with Rey and Kylo Ren that I think would appease fans as a whole, and it's also a way their relationship is it's a dynamic one for sure. I still don't know where I am on the whole Reylo or not, but I have a wall of Rey and Kylo Ren, and I want there to be a purpose for that. And Rey wants to find out what her purpose is in all of this. And I feel like this is a path that they could be taking.
Yeah, I can get behind that. And I can get behind using these new powers as a method to tell the story, like they did in 8 with the Force Skype. But like going back to this mask in general, like this toy, what's your honest take on this mask, like with the red cracks, the new Kylo mask?
I love the new Kylo mask. I think it makes sense in The Last Jedi for him to lose the mask, but I also think it was a marketing mistake for him to lose the mask. I've said that before. The Kylo mask was, when The Force Awakens came out, it was like almost Vader level like hype. You know what I mean? Like you saw that, kids, I took my niece and nephew trick-or-treating that year, and like there was like a dozen Kylos running around. I'm like, this movie hasn't even come out yet. And these kids all wanted to be Kylo. Last year, I didn't see one Kylo, and that's just, nobody wants to be an unmasked Kylo, even though it might make sense in the movie. This one right here, it's a mask. Yeah, and it lights up red. I think, I'm curious why it lights up red. It might be like glue that weird space thing does. Rural Farm Boy says that he's telling us that the Rise of Skywalker is going to be something that we haven't seen or hasn't been told before. I hope so. Everyone's like, what do you want to see in this? What don't you want to see? I'm like, I just want to see a good original movie look, the reality is it has to wrap up the Skywalker saga because they said this is the end of the Skywalker saga, which is kind of handcuffing them, but whatever. It is what it is. And when they look, everybody's like, they just made that announcement, but I'm fairly confident that they called this the Skywalker saga the day they announced the title The Last Jedi. I am like 98% certain that the press release Lucasfilm sent out about the title being The Last Jedi on January 23rd, 3 years ago. It's Rob McDonald's birthday, shout out. That it said the 8th chapter in the Skywalker saga or something to that effect.
Yeah, that's definitely the earliest we ever heard that term, at most, at the absolute earliest.
Yeah,
it's a very new term. Unless
we miss something, which is fine. I mean, the Marvel just were like, this is the Infinity Saga. Well, 10 years later, it's the Infinity Saga. Like, come on, man. So like Iron Man 1 was not part of the Infinity Saga. Let's be real here.
Yeah. Can you imagine the script of Iron Man 1? Like Jon Favreau was like, Iron Man 1, first movie of the Infinity Saga. There, title page done.
Yeah, that was it.
He's like, 10 years from now, this is going to be huge.
Could you imagine? But look, they were able to make those movies in a way that all of a sudden they were able to call it that. And because of George Lucas's storytelling from the start, they were able to call this Skywalker Saga, which I think is brilliant marketing ploy. And now they're like, this is the last one. You're like, well, I've got to see it now. It's the last one. So you can say what you want. It's going to be great. Rural Farm Boy's mad. He's like, that's what every next Star Wars movie's been. Something new that hasn't been told since Empire Strikes Back. Fair enough. I'll concede that one. But, I mean, they could just be like, this is just going to be Super 8 in space.
Oh, boy. I hope not.
I think that might be my favorite original. Wait, he's only had, how many original movies has he had? One? I think that is my favorite original J.J. Abrams movie.
Same.
That's his only one, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, J.J.
As far as I know. What do I know?
Hey, what's the name of the guy that directed 10 Cloverfield Lane? He was on my top 5 list for directing a Star Wars film, and he remains there. He hasn't done anything since, and I thought that movie was brilliant. So
it's not Matt Reeves, is it? He did
first Cloverfield.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm gonna look that up right now. 10 Cloverfield Lane. As long as it's not the same guy who did Cloverfield Paradox, then we're all in the same boat. And I agree with you. Let's see. Wow, 2016 already. This is an old movie now.
Yeah, I know.
10 Cloverfield Lane was
Trachtenberg.
Let's see here. All I know is Mary Elizabeth Winstead is a very beautiful woman. Oh yeah, Dan Trachtenberg. There we go.
Yeah, there you go. He was a podcaster, but yeah, he directed that. I thought it was great. I wouldn't mind seeing him. I just bring that up because it's J.J. Abrams. Here's a question for you, Andrew. So it's the end of the Skywalker saga. Mm-hmm. The movie's going to end with Ben Solo, staying alive, Rey staying alive. Somebody's going to be alive at the end of this movie. Finn, Rose, who knows? Do any of the surviving characters, the remaining characters, make their way into the next Star Wars saga?
That depends. When it comes to the next Star Wars saga, if we are seeing timeline-wise, if we're seeing a story set post Episode 9, which I'm sure we will eventually, it would be cool to see it like a bit further in the future, like maybe 150, 200 years. Like I've always loved the idea of seeing a Star Wars movie where like some folks walk into like this grand cathedral and there's a stained glass window of Luke Skywalker. Like that would make my heart gush. But what I'm looking forward to, and I mentioned this last week, is okay, let's say Rey, Finn, and Poe all make it out alive. Okay, they're all and Rose, the four of them. Let's say they live through this movie. They're alive at the end. I can't wait for canon novels that are about their adventures afterward. Like I'm tired of reading about Snap Wexley's mom and some droid nobody cares about. Like let me read about Rey, Finn, and Poe. And Rose.
Yeah, but if Snap's mom or Snap, like what Snap is, I guess. But if they were in the movies, then it would it'd be a little bit more substantial in your mind, I think.
Yeah, and I get that they have to tap dance right now with canon because they can't give anything away. But as soon as Episode 9 is out, then thankfully all bets are off, and we can get more. There's less constraint on the writers. So hopefully, once it's released, somebody will put up their hand and be like, "Hey, story group, can I write about Rey, Finn, and Poe and the Deathly Hallows, and it's their next adventure, fighting wizards and something." I can't wait for that. Like I can't wait to just see where they go next and read about them, so I can read about characters I'm familiar with. It will be nice. It'll be a nice change of pace.
I think going forward with the Star Wars universe, I really think the next movie should just be, they should make one movie. And they should be like, we're going to make one movie. And then maybe the next 3 movies are just 3 solo, not Han Solo, that'd be cool, but 3 solo films without sequels. Stories that have potential for sequels, but much like A New Hope back in 77 was just one movie. And George Lucas was like, I hope I can make more. Because if they, like, we're going to do the next trilogy of films about these new characters that nobody cares about and nobody gravitates to, then they are really, really up a creek.
Yeah. I think that a good jumping ground for that, a good springboard, is going to be Disney Plus. I feel like before we get solo movies on the big screen, we will get like mini series on Disney Plus, like maybe a 5-episode series about Wendy Jo, the half Sith, half Rancor. And if people love Wendy Jo's show, maybe she'll get a solo movie. Maybe.
I don't think we're going to get any solo films ever again. Like, there won't be any, like, this is about, like, no Star Wars movie ever coming out again will be the name of a character, I think. I think all the movies are going to be Star Wars and then some epic cheesy title. And then, see, they got rid of the Roman numerals, which is kind of a bummer, but I guess makes sense. And now they're not doing the color thing, obviously. So I don't know how they're going to do it. I like that it was like...
Squandered the opportunity to do the color thing. I gift wrapped that for you.
Heidi hates Wendy Jo. I don't blame her. And Rural Farm Boy says, make Solo 2 happen. I'm on that train. Bring it. I'm looking for Solo.
Yeah, I want some Solo too as well.
Look, it's Han.
Hey, there he is. I'm bummed about the loss of the Roman numerals too. You guys know I love my Roman numerals. I'm still kind of irritated that they took the Roman numeral V out of this new Rambo movie that just came out. But
Did they really?
Yeah, it's just called Rambo Last Blood now. No V.
Oh, because it's bookends it with First Blood, I guess, right?
Yeah, but the original, when they announced it, the poster and everything, it had the V, and I was really excited.
I live under a rock.
You do. But I like that if they're going to keep with the big cheesy titles like you're saying, so the movie's not called Solo anymore. It's called like something else. I like those cheesy titles better. That just feels more like Star Wars. Every time I read an article about The Rise of Skywalker and I see the words The Rise of Skywalker written in italics, I get a little bit giddy.
It's a great title.
It is. It's a beautiful title, and it really has grown on me because I remember the first time I said it out loud, I was like, "That's strange. That doesn't, it doesn't roll off my tongue the way I want it to." But it's totally grown on me, and I
like
want
all Star Wars
more
titles,
titles like those. Yeah, I mean, I still kind of cringe a little bit when I say A New Hope because it's such a, I don't know, that title just rubs me the wrong way, but I'll say it anyway. But I want more like that in the future, especially because other series aren't really doing that. Other big, they don't do that. The Marvel movies don't really have titles. Well, granted, they're getting there. Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, like that's a great title. So I like stuff like that, and I want to see Star Wars continue it because that's kind of their bag.
Yeah. I hope so. I just think, like, is there going to be a point when Disney hesitates and they say to Lucasfilm, they say, "Hey, you need to bring character X into this new saga because," and I'm not saying someone from the sequel trilogy necessarily, but they're like, "We need character X in there because we're concerned that people just might not be invested." That's where I am, and I don't think Star Wars should be that kind of franchise. I think they should take a leap and a. Hold on, sorry, the Mr. Pete channel needs 700 subs. Mr. Pete channel's at 660 subs. You guys get over there and subscribe to Mr. Pete because Mr. Pete is going to boycott Disney Plus unless they make another holiday special. Which actually, I want to bring up two things right now, Andrew. First, I don't know if you saw that Entertainment Tonight, I think it was Entertainment Tonight interview with Jon Favreau. It was Ash Crowsan from Entertainment Tonight, and she mentioned something, and Jon Favreau went on about, wouldn't it be cool if we made a holiday special for Disney Plus? And then he's like, "Go tell Disney to do that." And that was a super chat by Mr. Pete. He's going to boycott. He wants everyone to know. That's how important that comment was. Look, so a holiday special would be hilarious. I think it would be so fun if they did that. You know what I mean? If they're like, you know what, this is just like, because I think part of the Disney problem is right away they took Star Wars too seriously. Like the droids, Ewoks, those cartoons, the live action Ewok, like they're fun family things. Like, and I think at some point they're like, well, Star Wars is blah 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 blah. Do something cheesy just for fun. It doesn't just be like, this isn't canon. Don't get your buns in a knot. Like, this is just what it is. Go have fun, and you watch it, and it would be a nice homage, I think, for people. It's not going to happen, but it'll be fun. But Andrew, I've got to know your thoughts on this. Our friend Sheldon Norton. Have you met Sheldon?
I think I've met Sheldon.
I think you met him at the Out There premiere. Anyway, so our friend Sheldon Norton. Huge Star Wars fan, big Star Wars fan. He directed the documentary "When the Galaxy Listens" on YouTube right now. Check it out. Phenomenal documentary. Yeah, phenomenal documentary. Mr. Pete. Oh, he says if they do another holiday special, he'll boycott them. Take back everything I said. Okay. Take back everything I said. They should never, ever touch the holiday special. Terrible idea. Terrible idea. God, the worst. No, a good holiday special, that'd be different. Anyway, our friend Sheldon Norton, When the Galaxy Listens, check that out on YouTube. He put up a picture of, you have to tell me the name, but B. Arthur's character from the holiday special.
Akmina.
And she's been in 2 novels now, I believe.
I think she's been mentioned. Yeah, she's been mentioned in one novel. She was in the Complete Locations book. There was a picture of the cantina, and they're like, "Look, that's her. She's canon now." And I smiled. Yeah.
So, and Sheldon's a huge fan of everything Star Wars. And he just randomly on Facebook, he posted a picture of B. Arthur from the holiday special. And I can't remember what his thing was. And I said, she could show up in The Mandalorian. And when you listen to Jon Favreau talk, a celebration where you were, he mentioned that they even looked at the holiday special. They looked at the holiday special. He mentioned the holiday special in this interview. Could B. Arthur's character from the holiday special make a appearance in the Mandalorian TV show?
Okay, well, to answer all the questions you just posed to me as quickly as I possibly can, yes, I did see that Entertainment Tonight thing with Ash Cross, and I brought it up with Rob McDonald on the latest episode of That's So Wizard podcast, which you can hear right now on the Rebelscom Podcast Network. Anywhere you get your podcast, it's right there. It's our latest episode where we talk about TIFF and Joker and the other movies that were at TIFF. to your second point there about how, Disney took Star Wars too seriously. I think at first they were too scared to do anything else because we were fresh off the prequel wave, which was too far on the cheesy end at some points. And it's that typical rubber band overcorrection. Same thing with James Bond. We got Die Another Day, so they panic and they give us Casino Royale. They just tip the scales back one way. But I think the scales are coming back to the center where they should be. It took some time to get there. As in regards to the holiday special itself or a new one coming out, I'd be down for a new one. However, nobody can play a B. Arthur character unless it's B. Arthur, and B. Arthur is no longer with us, R.I.P. So I don't want to see that character come back because it'll hurt my heart because it's not B. I don't think you understand how much I love B. Arthur. And it would just feel like somebody doing an impression of B. Arthur. And
wait. Rogue One Tarkin is your second favorite Tarkin.
Yeah. But I don't feel the same way about Peter Cushing as I do about B. Arthur.
I don't know what that means.
there is only one Dorothy Zbornak.
What if Betty White played her?
You know what? That would be funny. That would be funny. Especially since they apparently didn't get on that well on the set of Golden Girls, from what I hear. So it would be kind of funny for her to have to step into her shoes. But I am down for another, first and foremost, let's all be real here. Let's all say what we're all thinking. We want to see Chewie's wife and son before anything else, and possibly his creepy father. We want to see that come back. And we got taste of it. We got taste of it in the books, in Aftermath. We thought we were getting a taste of it in Solo, but instead we got some weird looking Wookiee played by Anthony Daniels that nobody really cares about. But I think that would drive people insane in a good way, in a positive way. Jon Favreau loves everything. For the most part, he loves everything to do with Star Wars, and I think he was only half joking. I think if the opportunity came up to do a holiday special, he would jump on it, and he would make one that I think a lot of people would like. Yeah.
I think Jon Favreau is positioning himself for something bigger, is what I think. In a bigger role in Star Wars. I said this before, we did something else earlier, and this could be way off base, and I don't know anything about what's going on. This is just my speculation that I think he could be gearing up to be a Feige type for Star Wars. I know they just hired the producer. I can't remember her name. Forgive me. They just hired her. So maybe that's the route they're going and nobody else will be there. But no Lumpy. Mr. Pete does not want Lumpy. So Andrew, get off the show.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
But I just, the way he's working with Filoni and taking care. And if The Mandalorian is this big success, I don't know. Eventually, think about it. Kathleen Kennedy, everybody gets on Kathleen Kennedy, but she's making Star Wars. She's overseeing Indiana Jones. She's overseeing this new one that's based on a book. She's going to oversee the Willow streaming series. She's overseeing it all. She's the head of a studio that is not one shared universe like the MCU with Feige. So now they have the new producer for everything live action, but are they going to have somebody to So yeah, I guess she's doing it all. So I don't know. That's how I felt. That maybe eventually, but we'll see. I mean, I don't know. Why would I know?
Yeah, I can't remember that lady's name either, but I can totally see her stepping into that role. I see Feige wanting to step into the role of the Russo brothers of Star Wars, and I'm 100% down. I feel like him and Filoni could become the Star Wars version of the Russo brothers. Anything that keeps him from making more Jungle Book and Lion King movies is fine with me too. So just gonna put that out there.
Yeah, but you haven't seen The Lion King, in fairness.
No. In fairness, I have not. But, I've actually heard a lot of bad things.
But it made $1 billion.
Well, of course, there's no world where it wouldn't. There is no world where that movie would not have made $1 billion.
Over under 1.5 billion. Frozen 2. What makes more money, Frozen 2 or Rise of Skywalker?
Ooh, this is tight. I'm gonna say Rise of Skywalker makes more money, but not by much. I think Rise of Skywalker has the kid and adult market, whereas I feel like Frozen 2, which I think is going to be fantastic. I can't wait for Frozen 2. But I feel like so many adults got sick of it because it was everywhere, that they're, it's not gonna pull in what the first one did. It's gonna. There's been some drop off, is what I'm saying.
I don't know. I saw half the trailer, and Josh Gad posted an image of a creature that I was like, well, I'm back on board. I think I only watched half the trailer because I was working. I was like, I don't have time to watch the other half. I liked Frozen. I actually thought Tangled was a better film. But Let It Go is like the biggest Disney song of all time.
Sure.
And if they don't have a Let It Go, I don't know if it's going to match the success of the first one.
I think that they would be aware going in. They'd be like, okay, if we're going to make a part 2, we better come out with a song that's just as powerful. I just hope the only thing I didn't like about Frozen 1 was the very end. I thought it kind of petered out at the end. I hope they don't make that mistake this time. But other than that, I thought Frozen 1 was like one of the best Disney cartoons in maybe the last 20 years. So the
last 20 years.
I know. Yeah, there's not a lot in terms of amazing stuff, but I would definitely say it's the best one of the last 20 years. It's definitely my favorite of the 2000s. It's definitely my favorite of the CG animated.
Tangled is better, Andrew. Misconduct agrees. Tangled, Princess and the Frog. Chicken Little.
Moana was great.
Chicken Little.
Mm-hmm.
Chicken Little is just an anomaly to me. Yeah. Home on the Range. Yeah.
Do you remember Atlantis: The Lost Empire?
I own that thing.
Yeah.
That's
a good one. That's a good one. It's a weird one though, but it's a good one. But no, I would still put Frozen above everything we've just mentioned. I love a lot of those.
I think you're wrong. I think Tangled is by far the better one. Anyway, it doesn't have Let It Go though. But let's go back to Star Wars, which I think is going to make. I don't know how much Frozen 2 is going to make. That's not. Also, we talked about this before with Lilo and Stitch. That ticket prices for children are cheaper, so that kind of hurts it. But Rise of Skywalker, $1.5 billion. I'm totally on that. That's where I am. That's where my head's at for Rise of Skywalker, $1.5 billion.
Yeah, that's doable. I think that's completely doable.
I think we're going to get a lot of fan service in this as well. I really do. I think that we're going to get Leia's going to have a Force scene that will blow your mind. I think Leia's going to really be cool in this movie. I think they're going to respectively give her a cool film.
I think so too. And I'm going to tell you guys a little story I don't think I've ever told on this channel before. But back in the day, back in 2005, I used to work at the movie theater here in Brampton. And
I worked there in 2001.
Yeah, we just missed each other. When I started, Spider-Man 2 had just come out. So we just missed each other.
Yeah.
By a year.
I'm old.
You are old. It's okay. You're going to retire soon. It's going to be great. You'll see. But I was working when Revenge of the Sith came out. And, it was always packed. There was always big lineups for Revenge of the Sith. And I remember one evening I was working and it was, Revenge of the Sith was kind of almost done. It was petering out. The theatrical run was almost finished. And the movie ended. I'm there standing there with my broom and everything, and I'm waiting for the movie to end and the cinema to clear out so I can go sweep and clean up and stuff. So the movie ended and I'm standing there and I'm waiting. And there's only a handful of people in the theater because it's been playing for a long time. But out walks, the first people to walk out once it ended was this very old married couple, an old man and an old woman. They had to be in their 70s at least. And they were smiling and they were having a good time. And they sat through a lot of the credits too, but they were just okay, time to go. And I was like, I know exactly why they're here right now. Because, they've been fans since the 70s because clearly they were around back then. But also because back then in 2005, Revenge of the Sith, this was the last Star Wars movie. So they wanted to see the end of the story. They wanted, to be there for the finale. Now we have, however many 100 times more people like that, people who have been around the beginning and now it's the end for realsies, more or less, until another 35 years when Disney needs more money. But I feel like we're going to get a lot of those people who are like, hey, this is the end. Let's go pay our respects, even if we're not the hugest fans. So I'm expecting a lot of that to contribute to the overall dough that this pulls in.
Yeah, and that's why it was genius to say the end of the Skywalker saga.
Mm-hmm.
You let people know we're going to put a bow on it. This is it. I don't know if they're going to put a bow on it. I think Endgame was a perfect ending, but it didn't put a bow on everything. But it put a bow on enough. And if they said we're not making any more Marvel movies, I feel like it would still be in a place where I would kind of be okay with it, because the loose ends are loose ends that you can kind of in your mind kind of dictate in your mind, like, you know what, with Thor this is what happens and all
Mm-hmm.
that. So that's how I am. So there's an argument about who's older than who in the chat right now. Andrew's 97 years old.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right. I'm very spry. It was a lifetime of no cigarettes and alcohol. Gets you to look like this. Okay. Just saying.
Scary.
Take a good look.
Very, very scary. Let's go right back. We'll wrap the show up soon, but let's go back to the Force Rage. Will Kylo Ren wield Force lightning?
I have a feeling, because we haven't seen him do it yet, I have a feeling he can't. He wants to, and it pisses him off that he can't, but I have a feeling it's not in his repertoire yet.
It'll piss him off that he can, and then Rey will do it, like, randomly,
Yes.
like picking up Anakin's lightsaber, like, what?
I can do this now. Yeah, I think if anybody's going to lightning in this movie, it'll be first and foremost Palps, if he's able to, or Rey. But I think it'll be kind of neat if Kylo's not able to do that.
Do you think Matt Smith is in this movie?
At this point, man, I don't know, because it wasn't just some Joe Schmo who announced it, right? I mean, that feels like so long ago now, but it feels like that was a.
I thought it was on the
Lucasfilm
official casting list, but maybe not.
Yeah, so I don't know where that came from. If he doesn't end up being in the movie, if he's definitely not in it, I would love for somebody online somewhere to kind of like do some detective work and just figure out where that came from. Because if that is just a gross rumor, like, how did that snowball to the point where everybody in the world thought it was true? Like, that's some Paul is dead stuff. Like, that is, how did you do that?
Yeah, I'm trying to look back to
It had to be at least a year ago when that was announced, no?
Yeah, I'm looking at some old stuff. I don't think I have anything. I don't think I have anything from that old that says Matt Smith in it. Yeah, I just think it was weird that, he said he wasn't in it. But if you like I said, I don't look at the spoilers or anything, but if you type in Star Wars, because I want to see Star Wars news still, there's always a picture of Matt Smith. And when I go on Facebook, there's always a picture of Matt Smith here, like one half, and CVP the other half, Ian McDermott the other half. And it's like I don't know, if people in the chat, you could say, we'll let them say this, but is there like a spoiler going around that? Wait, maybe, don't say it, because people are in the chat, they don't want no spoilers either. But like, email me, rebelscumbags@gmail.com. Is there a spoiler going around that confirms Matt Smith is in this movie? Because if he is in this movie, having him lie about being in it is still ridiculous to me.
Yeah. JJ, you're getting that handwritten letter from James.
But like I said before, Benedict Cumberbatch didn't say he wasn't in Star Trek. He said he wasn't Khan. No. So if he came out and said, no, I'm not playing a young Palpatine, but he admitted to be in the movie, that's different. That's a different lie, I think.
It's a totally different thing. Like, if it was Ian McDermott saying, I'm not in Star Wars, wink, wink, that's one thing.
Or Hayden Christensen.
Yeah.
Or Jake Lloyd. How cool would it be if they had CG young Jake Lloyd, like Phantom Menace Anakin in this movie? Yippee!
He just walks past Rey and asks her if she's an angel, and then he runs away.
I really hope Jar Jar appears on some capacity to this.
Oh, might give up. But it's almost what's the date? Today we're recording this on the 23rd. How long until Force Friday? Is that soon? No?
October the 4th is Triple Force Friday, where you could celebrate toys for Mandalorian, Jedi Fallen Order. Maybe you'll get some Force Rage in that one. And also Star Wars Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker. Me and Brock, we're going to be making our way to I'm sorry, I just looked outside and it's pitch black. It is 7:45
Yeah.
and it is pitch black. What just happened? Last week I think it was still light at this time. It's fall.
It's fall. It is 100% fall.
You, me, and Brock, though, the three of us, we will be separately going to stores. We're going to find something that we want to purchase on that day, and we're all going to do like a scavenger. We're going to look for what we're going to do, and we'll talk about it on an upcoming episode after that. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I like Force Friday. In the past, I got all the Elite Series for the Rogue One characters. I've gotten Aftermath was a big one. That was the first Force Friday, was Aftermath, and Lost Stars came out that day. So maybe we'll get some surprises in novels. I'm not sure. I haven't heard anything because they've been pretty good at announcing things lately.
Yeah, they've been the books. There's a lot of stuff coming out like end of October, mid-November. We're gonna be bombarded with stuff. But yeah, I don't know what's coming out besides the toys on Force Friday. It might just be the toys. So my question for you right now, James, and folks in the chat, throw out your answers too. It's Force Friday. You can only get one item. Which one are you walking away with?
As of right now,
I think we might have the same answer.
no, we probably don't. As of right now, if you're like you can only get one. See, I really want like the 3 3/4 inch ones, but they're too expensive. We talked about this before the show. Like the Knights of Ren one's cool, the Zoid Bliss is cool, but I'm not spending $20 on a little tiny toy because they packaged it fancy. I'm gonna go the Second Sister.
Ooh, okay, all right. She's my second choice. My first choice is the Mandalorian.
See, the Mandalorian was I was flip flopping in my head between those two, and I love the look of the Mandalorian, but I don't know if. I mean, I have Jango Fett and I have Sabine Wren. This one obviously has a mask that's not going to come off, which makes them different. But that's the only thing. But one of those two, Second Sister, just looks super cool, and I know nothing about Second Sister, so that's why I'm going to go with Second Sister.
Yeah, she does look amazing. I love her lightsaber. I just love the whole look of the figure. I think that the Mandalorian figure is going to be the one that's like, if you don't get it soon, it's going to become hard to find, and then you can only get it off like somebody on Kijiji for like $70, like how I ended up getting my R2-D2 one. I just feel like that's going to be snatched up. It's going to become one of those rare ones. So I'm going for that one first. Second Sister would be my second choice. I think she's also going to be hard to find in the long run.
She might be hard to find in the short run, also where we are.
Oh yeah, well yeah. Remember, we're coming from Canada, folks. I'm sure the three of us, you, me, and Brock, are going to go out on Force Friday. I don't think it's a guarantee that any of us are coming home with an item from Force Friday because it's a crapshoot. I don't know if Walmart gets everything on that day or if they get everything. Like, how does that work? How does distribution work Force Friday? Is it like Friday morning, Walmart opens, they have it, and Toys R Us opens and they have it, Target opens, they have it? Is that how it works?
I think some will be open at midnight. I don't know if they do that anymore, but yeah, basically I think when the store opens, you go in and you get what they have. So.
Okay. Yeah, that's doable, but it all depends on if we get it. That's the thing. Because remember, like I said before, June was when I hate to keep beating this dead horse, but June was when they released the Black Series of Ezra and Dr. Aphra and 000 and BT1 and Chopper. And guess who has never seen that in any store in Canada ever?
Hey, I told you where to get Aphra and her droids.
Yeah, you told me Amazon's got them. But that's not the point. If a store is gonna not stock products, I want to know ahead of time. Like I want to know. I want like Walmart to send me a message, be like, look, we're not going to do our jobs and we're not going to stock toys, so don't shop with us.
Because nobody's buying them. That's the problem. Is nobody buys them. I bet you could find it on Walmart.ca. That's right. It's .ca here.
.ca.
Because nobody goes to stores to shop anymore. Just ask Toys R Us in America. Like they had to shut down, which is disappointing and depressing. But it is what it is. Ooh, the trailer. Look, so I think eventually these live streams might shift over to Wednesdays so we could kind of do like a Mandalorian recap. But for now, we're going to stick with Mondays because we want to be live if there is a Monday Night Football trailer debuts. We want to be live, just reacting to it live. We'll all be together.
Creeping up, dude. That's creeping. That's probably 2 weeks from today.
I would guess 3 to 4 weeks from today.
Really?
I would say because we just got the D23 sizzle reel.
That's true, but remember, 2 weeks from today is kind of deep into October already.
No,
it would be October 8th or something.
Yeah, so I would say maybe Canadian Thanksgiving, which would be great, but probably maybe the weekend after. I don't know. Red Wolf is back. Got to go to Red Wolf. Thank you, Red Wolf, for your super chat. This is for you, Andrew. I'll answer too, but you first because you are a SheVP fan. If the Emperor comes back, how would you feel if Anakin was brought back to fight Uncle Sheev, somehow to fulfill his destiny as the Chosen One?
It depends on what you mean by brought back, Red Wolf, because I like the idea of seeing both of those people again, and I like the idea of seeing them fight in some way, shape, or form, but I don't like the idea, and I've never been keen on the idea of just straight up resurrection just for giggles. I think you got to be really delicate when it comes to just pulling characters out of the grave, unless you're making a zombie movie. And if Episode 9, Rise of Skywalker, is a zombie movie, they really have kept that under wraps. Well done, JJ. But that's something that you got to be really, really careful of, because as soon as you do it the wrong way, you cheapen death everywhere. See every comic book ever. So I want them to be careful. I'd rather, if I had to say yes or no right now, I'd rather no. I'd rather just see them be ghosts and holocrons and all that stuff. But I will say this, Red Wolf. The idea of seeing Hayden Christensen and Ian McDiarmid in a scene together again, yes, please.
Well, let me just play devil's advocate here. If Anakin Skywalker is born of a virgin birth, and in the Christian religion, Jesus Christ is born of a virgin birth, and Jesus Christ dies and is resurrected. I'm just saying, is Anakin are they going to follow that path a little bit too on the nose? But could they do it, and could they bring him back?
I like how your idea of playing devil's advocate is a Jesus reference.
That was a mistake. I obviously did not think that one through. But you know what I mean? Like if they're going to do one, maybe they do the other. I don't think necessarily that's what it's going to be, but
yeah, that'd be very on the nose. I don't know, because there's already a lot of people who I don't think are all that keen on the Anakin virgin birth thing. So I think that's also something that you gotta be careful with. But I'd rather. Well,
you never mention
it. No, yeah, you don't have to mention it or anything. You don't have to point at it with a neon sign or anything. But I think if Anakin is just a Force ghost in this movie, I don't think anybody will complain. If it's just him talking to Rey for 2 minutes, I don't think anybody will complain.
Yeah, I would like to see Anakin be a Force ghost and kick some buttocks. That is what I would like to see happen. And when I say I would like to see it happen, it doesn't mean I'll be disappointed if I don't see it happen, because I don't strongly believe I would see it happen. But that is something that I would love to see. Everyone knows I'm a huge Anakin Skywalker fan. He's, aside from Jar Jar Binks, which is weird. He's my favorite character of the prequels. I think if you're making a movie to end the Skywalker saga, you got to pay respect to the first Skywalker, Shmi. Unless 100%. Shmi's last name was Palpatine. Does anybody know otherwise? Has she ever been referred to as Shmi Skywalker?
She has.
Where?
In Attack of the Clones, when Anakin comes back and he goes to Watto and he says, "I'm looking for Shmi Skywalker," and he's like, "Lenny."
Yes, that's true. Okay, well, prove me wrong. My favorite scene, because Watto is, of course, my third favorite character from the prequels. Yes, but look, I don't know. I don't think they'll play around with this, but I would love it if they pulled some kind of trick, because she is the first Skywalker that we know of. Were there Skywalkers before her? Was she created from nothing, like Anakin?
I wonder what Pernilla August is up to these days. I feel like if she was in this somehow, somebody would have found out, because it's, again, I don't mean to insult the lady. I don't know what her career is like, but I don't think she's doing a lot. So if she starts doing something, like if she flies to England and her Twitter thing is like, oh, getting ready to work, I think people will start talking and saying, hey, Skywalker is flying to the country where they're filming Star Wars. I don't know if she's going to show up or not, but I think she's somebody that you could get away of doing in CGI, maybe. I don't know, like a Tarkin situation. I'm not saying I think they'll do that. I'm just saying that's something they could get away with because she's not a sacred character to most people. But I'm curious if she was ever approached or what's going on with that.
I don't know, but I think that is a topic for another day. We're going to have to wrap things up over here. Throw water down the well so Tatooine can be free. Anakin said he was going to come back to free all the slaves, and I would argue that that is exactly what he did when he killed off all the Jedi. Because the Jedi were slaves to the Force and to the Jedi Temple.
That's a deep cut.
That is a deep cut. All right, guys. Thanks so much for joining us here on the Rebel Scum Podcast Flying Casual live stream. The super chat has been awesome. Means a lot to us. This video will be up on YouTube probably in like less than an hour.
40 days.
And tomorrow, the audio will be up on our podcast thing, which is Rebel Scum Podcast Network, where you can get it iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Podcasts. Pretty much everywhere you can get a podcast, we're on there. Wait, Red Wolf says wait. Okay, Red Wolf, we're waiting. I'm going to sit here. I'm going to wait. Red Wolf has one final thought. We'll get this in quickly. Here we go.
Red Wolf, by the way, your name sounds cool. It sounds like a red military, like attack helicopter that I want to get behind the controls of and learn how to fly.
Also, when we're done this, you got to go over to Michael Condon's YouTube channel. He's going to be live at 8:30. Go over there. More Star Wars talk live. Join the super chat. Have a good time with him. I'm going to charge my phone so I can be a part of that. Bye, Charles. Bye, Rural.
Bye, Charles.
Bye, Dale.
Bye, Dale.
We're waiting. Bye, Misconduct. We're waiting for Red Wolf. Here we go. Oh, Gina Pensule says, is Kylo telling the truth about Rey's parents?
I think he's telling the truth about what he saw. But I really don't think we can trust what he saw because we know Snoke admitted he put it there. And Snoke is not a trustworthy fellow. Taylor is, though.
I think there's also another side to that coin where he is telling the truth. But maybe Rey's parents, who she considers her parents, were not actually her biological parents. And they were just the people that she was kind of left with after something happened to her biological parents. And they were not great people, but they are dead and buried in a pauper's grave on Jakku. But I think there's a lot underlying in what he said there. And I really hope that... I don't believe anything's going to be retconned in The Rise of Skywalker. I think everything that Rian Johnson had played out in that is something that J.J. Abrams was on the same page. It's going to lead into whatever they had planned. So I do think he was telling the truth. And as Obi-Wan said, it was from a certain point of view. Red Wolf, are you coming?
I can't wait for the certain point of view Empire Strikes Back book, which I'm hoping is going to be what those people are working on. Next year is the 40th, James, for l'Empire Le Bec Streak. I don't know how to speak French very well, but I want that book.
No, that one, I don't believe that's going to be... I don't think that's going to be
made.
The Empire Strikes Back book that you're thinking about.
Oh, what do you think it's going to be?
Oh, Gina's with Red Wolf, so that was the question.
Oh, okay.
Thank you so much, Red Wolf and Gina. That's awesome.
Thanks, guys.
I'm just looking at the chat. How do people forget that? Hold on. Ray was the one who said some stuff, but Kylo did say other things about it. There's a whole lot going on there.
Kylo also said, I'm being torn apart. So I wouldn't trust anything anybody who's being torn apart says. He's a sneaky man.
All right, go over to Michael Condon's channel at 8:30. We'll be continuing talks on that one. Andrew, thanks for joining me here on Flying Casual. It's been a lot of fun. Love talking Star Wars.
Me too. Thank you.
All right, and as always, everyone, may the force of others be with you.
Always, maybe?
That's how rebellions work, don't you know? Rebel girl, rebel girl, rebel girl, they know you. It's gonna be your time. Breaking through, for breaking through, for breaking through, through. She's waiting for someone to stand by her side.